Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2 is in the works. Islam Makhachev called out Justin Gaethje and Justin Gaethje turned it down. And Dan Hardy versus Tyron Woodley may be taking place in a boxing match in 2022 in England. There is so much news to break down. I'm going to do it in today's video, which is an MMA news reaction video. Let's start straight away with the biggest news. Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards is apparently in the works for March, April, May, one of those dates. I would really prefer it to be March, sooner rather than later. Let's get things going. Kamaru Usman's getting older. Leon Edwards doesn't want to be more inactive, so let's get it set for March. That would be ideal. However, I don't know how much to trust this news because Ariel Helwani is the one who broke the news. And I know that Ariel Helwani is not just an outright liar, and he wouldn't just say this out of nowhere unless there was some kind of evidence that this was going to be happening. But he's been really campaigning for a Leon Edwards title shot, and it would not be far-fetched to me if this was all an elaborate plan by Ariel Helwani to start the conversation of Usman versus Edwards 2 and therefore make the fight happen because the conversation has already started happening. I'm not too sure, but apparently Ariel Helwani, according to Full Violence MMA, has said that Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2 is in the works. Let's talk about this matchup. I do believe that Kamaru Usman will beat Leon Edwards. I'm actually kind of annoyed that this fight has been made. I kind of had a hunch that this fight would be made, and honestly, it's the most logical next title fight for Kamaru Usman in the welterweight division. But I do want to say this, and this thing is a fact. I'm happy that Leon Edwards gets his title shot. He's been screaming about a title shot for the past 2 years, it feels like. He finally gets his chance at the belt. And a rematch as well to redeem his last loss against Kamaru Usman, which would also be good for him. So there's more on the line here for Leon Edwards as well. He gets to redeem his loss and get his chance at a title shot. I just ran out of air there, but still, I don't like this matchup in a certain way, which is the last time we saw Leon Edwards in a cage, first of all, he beat Nate Diaz, who I know there are casual fans out there and they love Nate Diaz. I understand. He is a big name. I know he's a big name. But he's not ranked anywhere. Anywhere in any division in the UFC. He is not ranked in the top 15 of the welterweight division, and it's Leon Edwards' title elimination bout in the welterweight division as well. I understand it wasn't the most perfect circumstance. They made the Nate Diaz fight anyway, so Leon Edwards could get a big push and get some big name value for beating a guy like Nate Diaz, and Leon Edwards was going to go out there and finish Nate Diaz, as he said in the build-up as well, but that did not happen in the fight, and I want to talk about this. Not only was his last fight Nate Diaz, which really annoys me that it's a title elimination bout. It annoyed me about the Masvidal fight with Diaz as well. But at least then Nate Diaz was ranked, what, number 7, number 8, number 9 in the welterweight division. He's not ranked anywhere, and he's someone's title elimination bout. And not only that, in the last few seconds of that fight, the last 30 seconds of Edwards versus Diaz, Edwards barely survived being KO'd by Nate Diaz, who is not ranked anywhere at welterweight, not in the top 15. I don't think, off the top of my head, he has a single win over anyone inside the top 15 of the welterweight division. Fair play, he beat Pettis, who beat Wonderboy, but still, it's not really the same thing. He's not ranked in the welterweight division. It's just, it stinks to me that the last time we saw Leon Edwards in the cage, he was barely surviving being KO'd by Nate Diaz, and now he's taken on number 1 pound for pound Kamaru Usman. It's a little bit bitter, in all honesty. It's not a perfect situation for a title shot, but you know what? One thing you do have to respect, and he doesn't get enough respect for this, is Kamaru Usman's activity as a champion. He is arguably, I know people don't like him because he's boring, and he's so obviously on HGH and EPO, but either way, he's very active as a champion, and people need to give more respect for that because he is one of the best champions that we've had in a very long time. He fights multiple times a year. There's never a situation with Kamaru Usman where, I know he calls out Canelo, but Tyron Woodley would call out Canelo and then sit out for a year unless the UFC gave him Canelo in the UFC. He'd make some outrageous demands, take a year off to focus on his rap career, and then just rock back up to the welterweight division whenever he wanted to. There was a time when Woodley was active, but Usman just keeps it going, regardless of how much money he earns or how much legacy he builds. He turns right back around. I mean, it's been a matter of weeks since he beat Colby Covington, which I believe should have been a draw, and so does the Weasel MMA, and there's a breakdown on it to say that it was a draw with Colby Covington, but Usman got the win. He took a lot of damage as well. He lost the last 3 rounds and got rocked multiple times, yet still no time off. Christmas is coming up, but Usman says, "Know what? I don't care about that. I want to get right back in there. March, April, May next year, and please let it be March, because otherwise the rest of the welterweight division is going to get log jammed for so long." And I know it's so much to ask of Usman, but let's make this in March. Let's not do this in May. Let's not do this in April. The April comeback date, I believe, is for Conor McGregor's comeback. That's when he's expected to return to the octagon, is in April. So let's do it in March. Usman versus Leon Edwards 2 in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3 in a co-main event. Marvin Vettori versus Luke Rockhold in the feature fight. Put whatever else you want on that card. It will sell pay-per-views. But it won't, though, will it really? That's a good card. And as a hardcore fan, I love those matchups. But how big of a fight really is Usman versus Edwards 2? Especially with Edwards barely surviving Nate Diaz. And I know he was dominating the whole fight before that. I'm not one of those guys that says Diaz really won the fight. I'm not one of those retards. The last image I have of him is wobbling all over the place, grabbing a hold of Nate Diaz for his dear life. And now I've got a, fake excitement that he might be he might beat the pound for pound number one in Kamaru Usman. I understand he has a solid chance of doing so, but I think a lot of people forget about Kamaru Usman. They forget that he can be a very different Kamaru Usman. The last few fights he's had, he's taken on godlike takedown defense guy in Jorge Masvidal, okay? Who's a striker predominantly, but he's got really good takedown defense, and that's kind of what he's known for. Great takedown defense, great striking. It's why he was an interesting matchup for Usman in the first place. A grappler in Gilbert Burns, who he was scared to go to the ground to, because why wouldn't you be? It's Gilbert Burns on the ground. He'd rather take it on the feet and risk things there instead. And a grappler in Colby Covington, who got a takedown on him and is, credentially-wise, a better wrestler than Kamaru Usman. So he's been on the feet with these guys, having entertaining performances, and entertaining to stand up against them, and entertaining fights at range against them as well. But there's a real worry in my heart that he will just hold Leon Edwards against a cage again, because I know people don't remember, but when he takes on a pure striker who's not really known for their grappling, although Edwards does have good takedown defense, we haven't seen him use it against a guy like Usman for a while, and the last time we saw it was in Usman versus Edwards 1, and Usman had over 10 minutes of control time with grappling, 6 takedowns in that fight as well in a 15-minute bout. He dominated the third round as well, and Leon Edwards started to slow down. So you've got Leon Edwards, a guy who, let's face it, doesn't have the best chin in the world, who's going to fear the takedown out there from Kamaru Usman, who doesn't have the best cardio anyway. I feel like Usman's going to hold him against a cage for a round, stomp on his toes, knee him to the belly, punch him to the body, take him down a couple of times, make Edwards work to get back up to his feet, do the same thing in the second round, and then towards the end of the second round, KO Edwards out cold, because I don't know if you guys realise this, but the Nate Diaz Leon Edwards rocking moment was basically the same exact combination that Usman threw on Masvidal. So he has that in his pocket. He has that in his ammunition. And I think he'll KO Leon Edwards in this fight after making him worry about the takedowns early. But Leon Edwards has got a real good chance. He's rangy, he's long, he's got good reach, he's good on the feet. Decent power, nothing too crazy though, so it's kind of hard to see him KOing Usman in any way, but he's got good takedown defense, so maybe he makes it somewhat competitive, but I can't help but notice that maybe Edwards is going to put his hands down to stuff a takedown, and Usman's going to crack him straight on the chin and put him out cold, and show us how good Colby Covington really is. Leon Edwards loses, but let's move on to another story. Islam Makhachev called out Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje turned it down. Turned it down, openly. I'm Team Makhachev. I am Team Makhachev on this situation, and I know that's going to shock a lot of people because I'm the anti-Dagestani guy. I'm the fucking truth guy, okay? Islam Makhachev's on a 9-fight win streak. He just beat Dan Hooker in the first round. Arman Sarukian is a ranked guy in the division. I know before that he beat Thiago Moises, who just got destroyed by Yoel Alvarez, but still, he beat Dan Hooker in the first round. By submission. With ease. Justin Gaethje took Michael Chandler 3 rounds to a war. I understand that Justin Gaethje technically beat a higher ranked guy and a better opponent than Islam Makhachev did. But Justin Gaethje is on a 1-fight fucking win streak after sitting out for a year, whining and complaining whilst on holiday. Makhachev deserves the shot. 3 fights in 2021, 3 finishes in 2021 as well. He's been dominant his whole career, other than a few fights here and there, one against Adriano Martins and one against also Arman Sarukian that was a bit close. He's been dominant throughout his entire career, pretty much. And especially on this last run that he's had, he's beat some great opponents. And He finally beats a good guy in Dan Hooker. And he says on Twitter here, so we'll go to war. They've both been arguing back and forth over who should get the title shot. Khabib jumped in. Everyone jumped into the conversation, it felt like. Even Eddie Alvarez jumped in at one point, who also beat Justin Gaethje, by the way. So, 9-fight win streak, 1-fight win streak. So Islam Makhachev says, you know what? We're arguing about who gets a title shot. I'm willing to fucking fight you for it. Let's fight for the title shot. I thought, you know what, Justin Gaethje? He's going to say yes to this, and this is going to be a great matchup. I see that Justin Gaethje claims, do your fucking job and fight top 5 Beneil Dariush. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He got dominated by Khabib, and people are going to say, oh, well, you know, Khabib's the GOAT. He got finished by Poirier. Is Poirier the GOAT? No. Where's the excuse there? He got finished by Poirier. If Poirier's the champ, I don't need to see that rematch when Gaethje's on a 1-fight win streak. I'd rather see the Makhachev matchup. You know what I'm saying? Also, he lost to Eddie Alvarez, who's now no longer even in the UFC, and got TKO'd there as well. Justin Gaethje's wins haven't aged the best in the world. The Edson Barboza win's a very good one. The Donald Cerrone win that got him in the top 5 in the first place, that doesn't get someone ranked anymore. Okay? The James Vick win, I mean, fair play, it's the GOAT James Vick, but still, it's not a great win. And I don't like the attitude of Gaethje. I'm Team Makhachev all the way, and I rate him for calling out Justin Gaethje because he's calling Gaethje's bullshit. Make that fight happen. Islam Makhachev, Justin Gaethje, Makhachev's up for it, and I know when you're looking at the UFC, and you're thinking what the UFC's thinking here, they're looking at this situation and thinking, you know what? Makhachev's the one looking to fight. He's the one willing to fight for his title shot here. Maybe they do make Beneil Dariush versus Islam Makhachev. And if they do, I hope they make it soon in January or December. January preferably on the main card of the pay-per-view. Open up the main card with Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush. And I hope that Justin Gaethje gets snubbed for a title shot because he's on a 1-fight fucking win streak. He almost lost to Michael Chandler in that fight. Michael Chandler was coming off of a loss as well. And also Oliveira, the champion, beat Chandler way more easily than Justin Gaethje did. They both got hurt in the first round. Oliveira went down to the ground, I understand, but Justin Gaethje also got rocked really badly in that first round as well. Oliveira chinned Chandler in the second round. Chandler was coming off a loss, down the rankings. Justin Gaethje beats him after a year of holiday and says, I want the title shot and nothing else. Fuck him. Do your fucking job and fight top 5 Beneil Dariush. Here's the problem I have with that. What if Beneil Dariush says, do your fucking job and fight a top 5 opponent as well? He won't say that. He'll probably say, God puts us through these tests, and we have to come out on the other side of the desert. And sometimes he starves the flesh, and the maggots eat on our food, and then we have to thrive and come out with the camels, and the book of 5 scrolls was there, and we all walked through the desert. And like he'll come up with some different Bible fucking verse that he's going to come out with, but if Beneil Dariush says fight a top 5 opponent, dude, you're both the top 5 opponent. You are the top 5 opponent. Key part of the whole video, I'm spitting. You're the top 5 opponent. You can't tell him, go fight a top 5 opponent, dude. You're it. You're the guy. You're coming off a win. At the same time that Makhachev's coming off a win. You're on a 1-fight win streak after losing dominantly to Khabib. Fight him. You're the top 5 opponent. You're the fucking top 5 opponent. He's like, shut up and fight a top 5 guy. Like, he's already a champ. And he's, like, giving Makhachev a chance to earn a title shot against him. You're the contender, dude. You aren't even the number 1 contender because you lost to Poirier by TKO. Poirier's the number 1 contender. You're number 2. You're the top 5 guy that you want Islam Makhachev to take on. I don't know what's going to happen with Beneil Dariush, but if I was Islam Makhachev, I'd try my hardest to get this Justin Gaethje bout, and then I would go for Beneil Dariush as soon as I possibly could in January, and I'd have Oliveira there, or the winner of Oliveira-Poirier in the stands, watching that fight go down, and I'd give the title shot to that person, because Justin Gaethje is an entitled little cunt, and he annoys me beyond belief, so much so that I'm siding with a fucking Dagestani. This guy's a prick. God, he annoys me. And everyone's siding with him. How are you siding? He's on a 1-fight win streak. Covington should not have got a title shot, but because of how close the Usman fight was, he did. If Gaethje went 5 rounds in a war to Khabib, and Khabib barely got it done in the 5th round, maybe I could argue a rematch if Khabib was still the champion and Gaethje only won 1 fight, but this is not the same situation. You've lost to lots of people. Makhachev's on a 9-fight win streak. He just got a first-round sub over Dan Hooker. Losing my mind with people siding with Gaethje here. I get it, you like Gaethje, but he's being a fucking entitled cunt. He's number 2 on a 1-fight win streak. He's the top 5 guy. Like, everyone's saying, oh, Makhachev should fight a top 5 guy. You're the top 5 guy. Should he fight you? Nah, he should fight a top 5 guy. You're in the top 5, Gaethje. Can he fight you? Nah, he needs to fight a top 5 guy first. Gaethje, you're in the top 5. You're 3 on a 1-fight win streak and you fought at the same time as Makhachev. Yeah, he needs to fight a top 5 guy first. It's just like you're clearly ducking the matchup. Let's make the fucking fight happen. Makhachev beats him as well, probably. No, Gaethje probably beats him. I actually think Gaethje does beat him as well. That's the twist at the end of it all. Gaethje does beat him. Moving on to another story. Oh yeah, Dan Hardy and Tyron Woodley are having a fight in boxing in 2022. Let's end on this fucking bullshit. Yeah, Tyron Woodley's giving up hope of a rematch with Jake Paul. He got the tattoo anyway. Absolute clown. And now he's looking for Dan Hardy because Dan Hardy's been calling him out for a while. Dan Hardy even mentioned that he signed a contract a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting. You don't normally hear someone say, I've signed the contract, unless they actually have had some kind of conversation about the fight happening. And honestly, this is a perfect fight for Tyron Woodley. If I was Tyron Woodley, though, I would go for like a Dylan Dennis. A bigger name, a more hyped up name right now, because of all the situations and arrests that he's been in recently. Have a boxing match with Dylan Dennis, win against Jake Paul. If it's Dylan Dennis, which it probably wouldn't be, he could get Jake Paul from that. But Tyron Woodley is fighting Dan Hardy. I reckon Tyron Woodley's going to beat him because I don't know what it is about Dan Hardy, but he thinks he's like still a savage. And I love Dan Hardy's breakdowns on Full Reptile. He's very good at them. He's very good at them. And I think he needs to really realise that he has a talent with his linguistic skills and a talent with his brain, and any activity that would limit his use of those two things, his words and his brain, should maybe be put to the side, and he should focus on his analyst work that he does, which is amazing. If he gets KO'd by Woodley, he may pick up a stutter. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens when you get KO'd badly. He may pick up a stutter. You know, if he goes to war with Woodley, he might come out of it and think, you know what, I'm a bit foggy in the brain. I can't remember the things I used to remember on the statistics of these fighters. I don't want Dan Hardy's analyst work to be affected by this fight with Tyron Woodley, and I do believe that Tyron Woodley is most likely gonna KO Dan Hardy if they do have a boxing match. I know Jake Paul did just beat Tyron Woodley, and Woodley did fucking nothing in that fight, and maybe Dan Hardy has an actual chance. But Dan Hardy has not competed in combat sports since when? Just going to look it up right now because, I mean, I think it's a decade. I want to say a decade. I'm not even over-exaggerating. 2011, I think it was. 2012 is when it was. Don't do it. It's been just under a decade. Please don't do it. You don't need to take this fight. You're probably going to get KO'd. But he has a chance of winning, and that would give him all the kind of call-out power. What I would say do is make this matchup. If Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury in December, or if Tommy Fury even beats Jake Paul and they do a rematch, put this one as like the co-main event of that card. And then we can have some storyline if Woodley wins and then has a backstage altercation with Jake Paul. We can build up some kind of hype there, but still, I'm not really too interested in Tyron Woodley versus Dan Hardy. I would pick Woodley to win, but then again, Woodley has been fighting like a pussy bitch recently, so maybe Dan Hardy does walk him down and get it done just by actually trying to win a fight, which is something that Woodley doesn't seem to do recently. Let's be real. But still, that's the MMA world of news. Fucking Justin Gaethje. If I get fucking... I can't believe people are siding with Gaethje. He's on a 1-fight fucking win streak, dude. He got dominated in a title fight. Embarrassed. Say it how it fucking is. He got embarrassed in a title fight, man. People don't like saying that because it's Gaethje and he's a cool guy and he's a warrior and he's always a warrior out there and he gives it his all. McGregor did better. Poirier did better. Every fucking person who fought Khabib did fucking better than Gaethje. He got fucking embarrassed. And Khabib had a broken toe. And a bad weight cut. And mumps in the build-up to that fight. Dominated him. Embarrassed him. Walked him down and almost choked him out twice in one fucking fight. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Team fucking Makhachev. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.